So next year we're getting ourselves The Batman directed by Matt Reeves, and these are 5 things I would kind of like to see in said movie. So, let's get into it. Hello friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side, a place for those who live talking by movies, and if you feel like you fall into one of those categories, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. So finally next year we get Matt Reeves The Batman with Robert Pattinson as a Cape Crusader, and I am very much excited about this movie, as you can probably tell from some of my other videos talking about news coverage and things like that, and I got to thinking about just all the kind of things I would really like to see in a brand new Batman movie, and I managed to come up with 5. Because that's all I could think of. And I wanted to make sure that this list wasn't repetitive of things that have already been confirmed and we're going to get, like a gothic and stylized Gotham City, and a more film noir detective-driven story, and multiple rogues gallery villains in one film. Those things we've definitely 100% are getting. So these are things that I have a pretty strong feeling we could get in this movie, and things that don't seem like unrealistic, like, hey, let's set up Justice League 2 or something. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I would like to see is an imperfect Batman. It's been confirmed for a while now this is going to be a year 2 story, so this Batman's not quite fully formed and not as, proficient in all the crime-fighting stuff that he would be in his later years, and I got this idea from replaying Batman Arkham Origins recently, which is also a year 2 story with a, less refined Batman, so I would really like to see some elements of Batman doing his Batman things that definitely are a bit rough and, maybe just aren't quite where they need to be in the future. Like, maybe he accidentally chokes out a thug or two while trying to get information out of him, or maybe he beats him up a little too much to the point that they're, internally bleeding and cause serious damage when you really don't need to go that far with it. I don't expect him to, like, throw batarangs and miss targets or anything like that, or, not handle himself in a fight, but, just some things that could be polished over time. I think it'd be really cool to see that evolution from, like, this first movie all the way to a third movie, or, if it continues beyond the traditional trilogy. The second thing I'd like to see is Commissioner Gordon not fully trust Batman immediately. We've had a couple really good incarnations of Commissioner Gordon over the last few years, where they're talking about Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon, or even Ben McKenzie from the show Gotham. J.K. Simmons, on the other hand, he was really screwed over by only being in, like, 2 scenes in Justice League, and we're probably never gonna see his Gordon again, which really sucks. But in the case of the Dark Knight trilogy, Gordon was pretty much on Batman's side from the very beginning, realizing he's a force for good, and he's just trying to do things that the corrupt police won't do, and I thought that dynamic worked really, really well, but I'd like to see something a little bit different, where at first Gordon just sees the Batman as just another Gotham criminal that really needs to be put away because he's really dangerous and reckless, and he's not, wearing a badge, so he can't really be trusted. So maybe for the bulk of the movie, Gordon is hunting him down, and then maybe towards the end of it, he starts to see that Batman's actually here to help, he's actually getting things done, and then maybe by the end of the movie, they're working side by side to take down the Riddler or whatever. So I really would like to see, like, that character progression as well, to see Gordon go from, the Batman's a menace, we need to take him down, to actually, this guy is pretty good for Gotham, and also maybe we could have, like, a little bit of a tease of a future bat signal or something. That could be really cool. And number 3 on my list is villains that end up sticking around for future movies. Comic book movies tend to do one of 2 things with their villains. They either kill them off, or they just lock them away in jail, never to be seen again, which, when it comes to Batman's Rogues Gallery, that's a real bag of missed opportunity, because, that's part of the fun of a lot of, like, the Batman video games and the animated shows, is that the villains will keep coming back, working together. They kind of got their own little system going on, where they'll have meetings being like, okay, did you try to kill Batman this week? Okay, that didn't work. Did you try? Okay, that's great, so, you stay out of my territory, you stay out of my territory, otherwise, I'm gonna come after both of you, and then I'm gonna kill Batman. Now, I'm not saying we have to have the Riddler, the Penguin, and how many other villains will be in this movie every single time, because that could get rather repetitive, but, there are some of these villains that could stick around and cause problems for Batman, even if they're not like the main threat. Take the Penguin, for example. He does a lot of, underground arms dealing and stuff. He knows a lot of information about Gotham Mob and stuff. So he's somebody that Batman could come to, like, down the road to go to the Iceberg Lounge and be like, hey, tell me about what this thing is going on, and things of that variety. And I think the way this movie's going to be structured is that we're going to have one main villain, probably the Riddler, and then the Penguin's just kind of going to be a supporting villain, which he, kind of tends to be a decent amount of the time, where, maybe he'll be doing some underground arms dealing and things like that, and then, gets in Batman's crosshairs, and that can just be a recurring thing we get over these other movies, is characters like that, or just other characters that work together with other villains and things like that. So really, I just don't want to see all these villains go be locked up in Arkham for the rest of the trilogy or the saga or whatever. Keep some of them around, bring them back, even if it's like a brief cameo down the hallways of Arkham Asylum once in a while. Just, don't throw them out the window is all I'm trying to say. Coming in at number 4 is an Alfred Pennyworth that's more hands-on, but also a little hesitant of Master Bruce's plan to go dress up like a bat and fight crime. So with every live-action Alfred, they seem to get slowly more and more hands-on with every incarnation. Back in the Michael Keaton days of Batman, Alfred was doing a little bit of hands-on stuff, helping him stop the Penguin in Batman Returns and things like that, but he really was just kind of in the background, like putting the suit away and things like that. And then the Dark Knight trilogy, Michael Keaton's Alfred helped Bruce, put the suit together and figure out like new alibis and help him work through some stuff, but still was not as hands-on as some would like it to be. And then in the Ben Affleck DCEU era, Jeremy Irons' Alfred was the most hands-on because he was working on repairs to the Batsuit, he was doing maintenance on the Batmobile, he was in Batman's ear telling them where to go, how many enemies are in the area and things like that. So that I thought was really great to see him more hands-on, get to see more of that, smart alecky attitude in there. So I just want to see that go a little bit further here. Just keep having Alfred be the guy in the chair telling Batman where to go, and maybe show him repairing the Batsuit after a long night of fighting crime. Just little stuff like that. But simultaneously, I want this Alfred to be just a little more hesitant about Bruce Wayne going out and being Batman. And this idea also came to me while replaying Arkham Origins. We get this one scene where Alfred's trying to stop Batman from going back into town and fighting the assassins and stuff, saying like, you're way in over your head, you're not a vigilante, you're just a rich kid with issues. And then Batman's like, no, you're wrong. While you're sitting here every night, I'm out there, saving the city and protecting people. And just that kind of dynamic I think could be really, really cool to see in this movie. So, and just like Commissioner Gordon slowly realizing that Batman's actually a force of good and something that Gotham needs and he can inspire hope in the people, let's have Alfred do that as well. I'm not saying like he's gonna fight Bruce on every like little thing, be supportive like a good butler, but maybe it just gets to a point where he needs to stand up and say something, and then he truly realizes that Gotham needs the Batman, and yeah, I just think that could be really cool. And the 5th and final thing on my list of things I want to see in the Batman are still some kick-ass fight sequences. So it's been confirmed this movie's gonna be a lot more detective-driven than all the other Batman movies, just kind of see the world's greatest detective side of Batman. But I really hope that doesn't mean he's gonna, ignore the master, martial artist side of him, because, it's really cool to see Batman investigate a crime scene, figure out forensic stuff and things like that. But it's also great to see him, go into a warehouse and take out rooms full of thugs with ease and things like that. I don't want his fighting style to be like a brawler like Ben Affleck's Batman was, because this Batman's, younger, leaner, faster, so, incorporate that kind of stuff in it, kind of sort of like John Wick, minus the guns and the murder. So I really hope Matt Reeves gives a good balance between the, intelligent, world's greatest detective side of Batman, as well as the master fighter Batman. If he can pull those things together and then Robert Pattinson can give his A-game in this performance, we could very possibly see the best live-action Batman to date. So, those are 5 things I'd like to see next year in the Batman. And again, if you haven't, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you live talking by movies. But also, if you guys have anything else you'd like to see in the Batman, then leave a comment down below some things you might like to see in that movie. But anyway, Do those two things, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.